and welcome to another episode of the Stogie Video Review. And this is actually take number 2. I was outside. It's gorgeous out. Really wanted to take advantage of the day, but I got it like I don't know, 45 seconds to a minute into the clip, and my neighbor, their children, who are very cool kids, very well behaved, decided to come out and start screaming for her dad. And I thought, well, you know what, this isn't quite cigar TV material. So I cut the camera off and headed back inside. So at any rate, later on in the video you might actually see me back outside again, depending on whether or not it quiets down. Right now the younger kids are out playing, and I don't know, I'm kind of hoping bedtime comes real soon tonight. But at any rate, I am smoking the Questa Centro Fino Sungrown, and this is a product of J.C. Newman, the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. And the Centro Fino part of the name is in reference to the portion of the tobacco plant where the leaves come from that make up the filler, and those are the fine center, quote, part of the tobacco which yields the leaves for the cigar. The Cortez Vitola, which is what this is, I think it's basically a Corona Gorda. It's a 58 by 5.5, and the Cortez come in the glass tubes. Just kind of cross-referencing my notes here. And from what I understand, this particular size was soft launched just a few months ago. And being April, I'm assuming that this probably was soft launched around the beginning of the year, maybe the end of last year, but fairly recently. And this cigar is crafted crafted in the Dominican Republic by Tabacalera Fuente. The tobacco blend was created by Carlos Fuente Sr. and Rich Dolak. Now, Rich Dolak is the Vice President of Operations for J.C. Newman. The wrapper is an Ecuadorian sun-grown leaf from the Oliva tobacco family, and the Oliva tobacco family is in Nicaragua, and they're not to be confused with the Oliva family of cigars, which is also in Nicaragua, but totally different companies. The Oliva family of cigars is the one that makes the Serie V, the G, the O, the Special S, all those. And the Oliva Tobacco Company are a very large leaf manufacturer, or leaf producers. I could be wrong on this one. I'm pretty sure that the Oliva Tobacco family provides the leaf for the Ashton VSG and several other, upper echelon cigars, as far as the price point goes, and the premium cigars, or the upper level of the premium cigars. And but anyway, don't get the two confused. They are not the same company. And these are grown in the Quevedo region of Ecuador. That's right. And both the binder and filler are comprised of tobacco from the Dominican Republic. And an interesting quote that I received is as follows. In 1895, Julius Caesar Newman hand-rolled his first 500 cigars for the family grocer in Cleveland, Ohio. 130 years and 4 generations later, J.C. Newman Cigar Company is America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, headquartered in the historic 1910 cigar factory in Tampa's Ybor City district. The Newman family is partnered in making and distributing many of the world's finest cigars, and they are partnered with obviously Fuente. But at any rate, you've got plenty of information on this cigar, so it's probably long overdue that I actually light it and kind of get into the whole characteristics of the cigar. As I mentioned, glass tube, everything is on the tube, the cigar is naked. And, right off the bat, the cigar looks great. It just looks very, very nice. Wow, it looks great. Feels good, too. It's about average, or about medium, I should say. Not hard, not soft. It feels very consistent head to foot. Fairly thin veins. A very mild aroma to it. I don't know. It looks great. I don't know how else to say it. But it's all out of whack because I started off outside. I don't know where my cutters are and whatnot. Just grab the old faithful Polio. Excellent pre-light draw. It's there's just a little bit of resistance there. It's just the way I like it. Very mild flavors right from the start. So right now we're doing very, very well. So I'm gonna get my cigar lit. I'm gonna take a quick break. Who knows? Maybe I'll be outside. Maybe I'll be back in here. But at any rate, just hang tight. We'll be back and we'll get started on the first third of my Questa Centro Fino Sungrown.
Over on the passenger side, I think you were asleep, but I really couldn't tell. She's the kind of girl that smiles when you wake up. She really loves the beach and she's pretty without makeup. She listens to Johnny Cash and Dylan too. I'm glad I found you, I'm so glad I found you.
Well, welcome back. I'm getting underway into the first third. I'm actually most of the way through the first third. But so far everything's going very well. Initially, the first couple of puffs, the body was sort of mild to medium, fairly light. And the finish was middle of the road. I mean, it wasn't dry, but it wasn't creamy. Sort of, split right down the middle. But as things began to settle out a little bit, that finish moves more towards more in a creamy direction. And also, it's worth noting that the first couple of puffs had a base flavor that was like roasted nuts and wood, which I thought was very interesting and nice. As I progressed, that changed up a little bit, and the roasted nuts kind of fell by the wayside. And the wood flavor, I guess it becomes a little more defined as oak, and it picks up a very interesting secondary flavor, which is sort of like butterscotch, which again is a very interesting dynamic flavor medley there. When you pair that with the medium body and this mildly creamy finish, it makes for a very interesting cigar. Very soon. I mean, it doesn't take very long for the flavors to really develop and settle in. And at this point, I've got a smoke that's got some great character to it, nice flavors, and the burning characteristics are very nice as well. The ash doesn't hold on for very long. It'll get a little bit longer than this, but what it does do is it stays very compact, and the burn line is thin and even. There's a real nice thin, crisp, dark, oily line that rolls around the foot of the cigar at the burn line, which looks very nice. Pair that with the very light ash that's neat as well. I'm very happy with the burning characteristics as far as the cosmetics go. I mean, it looks very nice. The fact that the ash doesn't hold on for very long is it's not too bothersome. I mean. It's not one of them cigars where you're going to get a giant ash hanging off the end, but at the same time, it's not going to be falling over your lap and flaking and whatnot. I think it does fairly well. It holds on for just under an inch or so. The draw produces a generous supply of smoke. I mean, I'm getting a mouthful easily with every puff. I can sip the smoke. I don't have to really tug on the cigar. It smokes well. The resting smoke is light. It's got a mild woody aroma to it, and the burn rate seems about right. I'm 30 minutes into the cigar now, and as I mentioned, I'm well on my way into the first third. So, everything seems to be going well as far as the burn rate's concerned. I don't think it doesn't feel like a fast smoking cigar, and it doesn't look that way. So, time will tell as I take notes and snap pictures. But at any rate, during the first introductory clip, I kept saying Oliva tobacco family, which in fact should be Oliva Tobacco Company, and it just gets very confusing when you're trying to talk about both people. But actually, when you're talking about both people, it should actually be fairly easy because you're trying to contrast between the two. But at any rate, I did mean to say the Oliva Tobacco Company, which makes wrapper, and the Oliva family of cigars. I didn't want to get that wrong. They're the ones that produce the Series G, O and V, and all the other cigars. But again, two different companies, very similar names, easy to get confused. But at any rate, my Questa Sungrown Centro Fino is smoking very well. And with that said, I'm going to head outside for a few more minutes, relax a little bit, and if it's quiet enough, maybe I'll fire up the camera out there. But at any rate, sit tight, I'll be right back, and we'll get started on the second third.
So what are we saying here now? We're talking about something about a little bit thing of cliche now between you and I and the stars and well, everything we talk about now we're saying for maybe the sea that we look at because of your hair, your eyes, your smile. In the moonlight, your hair, your eyes, your smile. In my dreams, your hair, your eyes, your smile. In the moonlight, your hair, your eyes, your smile. In my dreams, so please.
Well, welcome back. And as you can see, I'm still inside. All is quiet out in the yard, but it's getting dark pretty fast, so I didn't have much choice but to wrap up the video inside unless I were obviously dragging the lights out. But I think that I'm quite alright inside for tonight. I'm into the second third now. Most people would think this is the final third, and well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm a little behind, but I'm definitely going to be smoking the cigar much further than this. So we'll just, for argument's sake, we're going to call this the second third. And very much like the first, I'm happy with it. The draw is. I guess the word is deliberate. It's got a little bit of resistance, but at the same time it's free, and it puts off a very generous supply of smoke. It's easy to get through your sinuses, blow smoke rings. It's very dense, and it's got a very creamy, well, not a very creamy, but it's got a nice creamy texture to it that goes along well with the medium body. And read in a few places that this cigar was medium to full. But I really think this is more along the lines of medium. But I've got a little bit more cigar left to develop. But I really don't foresee it getting a whole lot more full than it is right now, and it's, I don't know, about medium. The ash is still light in color. It's nice and compact. Every time it drops off into the ashtray, there's a nice cone shape to it, so everything is burning just as it should. The ash still drops off at about an inch. It doesn't get longer than that. If you do let it get longer than that, it will just abruptly drop, on your lap, or in my case, onto the table directly in front of me. But it really hasn't become too much of a problem. I just look at it and I'm aware that, if I don't knock it off at about the 1 inch mark, it's most likely just going to end up on the table. So, I just simply keep an eye on it. It hasn't been flaking or making a mess or anything like that. Just as long as I keep an eye on it. As I mentioned, the body is medium, the finish is creamy, and the primary flavor is still this nice oak flavor. And I'm getting, as a secondary flavor, I'm getting a lot of this natural Dominican tobacco, and I'm not quite sure how to describe an actual Dominican tobacco, but there's a consistency between all of the Dominican cigars I've smoked so far, in that they all have a very similar flavor, which I think is common to the tobacco. For instance, Nicaraguan cigars typically always have this bit of a zing to them, or a little bit of edginess, where this cigar has it's like a mild salty flavor. And really, I'm not one to really care for salt flavors, but this is doing pretty well. I'm getting the heavier oak flavors are sort of washing out this salt flavor. Now the secondary flavors are sort of like a salted nut and this just straight up Dominican tobacco flavor. But just the dynamic of everything that's going on, the saltiness isn't too much for me. And as I had mentioned in previous videos, I'm very sensitive to that salty flavor, which is why I typically don't care for Dominican cigars. But in this case, everything else that's going on, it works out well. You know, the salty flavor just isn't too much, and it just doesn't kind of make me want to put the cigar down. I mean, the flavors are nice, they're delicate, and I'm just really enjoying this whole thing that's going on. I talked a little too much there. So that is my sign to wrap up this segment, this second third. Sit tight, take a look at a couple of photographs, listen to a little music courtesy of podshow.com, and I'll be right back. We'll wrap up the final third, and I'll let you be on your way.
I'm so used to trying again. Hey! I'm so used to seeing there's only one.
Well, welcome back, and as you can see, I'm getting pretty short with my Questa Sungrown. I'm about an inch long now, maybe a little bit longer. And well, you know, I'm still enjoying the cigar. Shortly after I turned the camera off, and you know, I got further into the final third, there was a dramatic change as far as the body and flavors went. Now, where I had read that the cigar is more of a medium to full type of blend, that really picked up. You know, when I don't know, about 2 inches, 2.5 inches, something like that. There was an abrupt change from this medium body up to, there was a considerable step, you know, and then I hit that medium to full, and it was like a light switch. All of a sudden, you know, the body kicked up. The flavors went from being sort of delicate to being much fuller and, I don't know, more of like rough around the edges, but not in a bad way. The oak flavor that, I don't know, I keep thinking of it as sort of a delicate flavor. It turned to a very heavy Dominican tobacco flavor, and as I mentioned, it's got a very distinct taste, at least to my palate. And while it has a salty component to it, it wasn't overly salty, and it didn't overwhelm me, especially for a person that's very sensitive to that sort of flavor. Everything else that went along with it complemented it fairly well. The secondary flavor was, you know, it was that oak sort of flavor was very mild, but it was more of a sort of a salty roasted nut flavor that was secondary to this Dominican tobacco flavor. And all in all, while it sounds like there's a whole lot of salt in there, it was smooth and nice. The finish wasn't quite as creamy as it was earlier. That seemed to get a little heavier, dried out just a bit, but it remained smooth, and the cigar smoked very well. I mean, the flavor change wasn't so abrupt that it kind of knocked me out of my chair. You know, it was. I kind of saw it coming, and then all of a sudden it was there. But it was a very quick transition, and it wasn't a bad one at all. You know, it really doesn't overwhelm you. As far as the burning characteristics go, the ash is still firm. It still drops off at about an inch. The only downside to the cigar now, which is common among cigars this size, is it gets very hot very fast. So I really need to slow down between puffs, which is, you know, completely acceptable, especially when the cigar gets this short. It's just something that happens. There's really no way around it. 48 ring cigar is just not going to stay cool puffing on it regularly when it gets this short. So regardless of what cigar I would be smoking it, it would get hot. So there really isn't a big downside. This one it seems to get a little hotter than the others, but again, it's certainly not a problem when it's that short. All in all, I really enjoyed the cigar, especially for someone that doesn't really care for a lot of Dominican cigars. I thought this one was nice. The price point is about $58.95 per box. They come in boxes of 10, and I think that's a good price point considering it's packaged in a glass tube. I can't think of many $5 tubos. They're usually in the $6 to $7 range. So this one falls, sort of right in the competitive market there. And you get nice flavors and a quality cigar to boot. I mean, when I pulled that thing out of the glass tube, it just looked great. No wrapper flaws, nice oily sheen, consistent color. It felt, good. Giving it a little pinch from head to foot. It felt like a high quality cigar, and it smoked that way too. So at $58.95, roughly making the cigar about $5.89 per single. I think it's a good buy, and I'm definitely going to be smoking more later on in the future. And I think if I had to select a time of day for this cigar, it would be more of a late morning, early afternoon cigar, and I think it would go very, very well with a nice cup of strong coffee. So actually, that's probably what I'm going to do next. So I'll try the cigar with a cup of coffee. Right now I'm doing water. But in any case, I really enjoyed the cigar. I'd recommend giving one a try if you haven't already. And well, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be smoking next week. So keep an eye out for a comment on this article or on this post, and I'll let you know what I'll be smoking later on next week. But at any rate, I hope you enjoyed the videos. Look forward to the comments and any feedback you have. Until next time, happy smoking.